What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We are in Warframe, and we are going to talk about NYX. This is going to be my NYX build for you. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hit that like button if you do. As always, feel free to leave comments below if you have any comments, questions, anything about this. If you have a different build setup than I do, all that good jazz, as always. So, first off, let me just say that the focus of my NYX build is mostly on mind control and chaos, okay? Of course, I still have Absorb, but I have dropped Psychic Bolts out of this particular build. But the focus here is mostly on mind control and chaos, and you'll see lots of action going on here in the background while I talk about these, and then I'll show you my build loadout, okay, as we go through this. So, mind control, obviously you're going to control an enemy. Chaos, you're going to control a crowd of enemies. So, if you're not very familiar with NYX, there's some nice features to this. By utilizing mind control and chaos, I only need to focus on power duration and power range instead of trying to shift in there some other abilities as well. And these are the best two abilities, I think. Yes, you have Absorb. Absorb is good, but I think the best two abilities for me are mind control and chaos. So mind control does have a initial stun. As you can see, the way I've got mine set up is I can control an enemy for 53 seconds right now, 54 seconds, give or take, based on my setup. And what this is going to allow me to do is I'm going to target one specific enemy, usually a higher level enemy, to my advantage. So anything you target will be taken to your advantage. So if you target like a Mine Osprey, all the dropped mines on the ground will not hurt you anymore. They will help you from against the other enemies. Wow, I can't speak. If you target an Ancient Healer, when the healer post goes out, it will actually restore health to you and any allies in the game. Okay? It also restores health to the cryopod, so that's a nice thing. If you mind control like a security camera or the turrets, they will work in your favor. Security cameras will ignore you, turrets will work for you, that type of stuff. Shield Ospreys, it will protect the shields of the allies and defensive objects. So these are all things. It also gives you, I think, like a shield buff as well. So these are all the advantages of the mind control. The same thing with like the Eximus, you know, the mini bosses and whatnot. If you control them, all of their large attack stuff, like let's say the fire or the ice, all of that stuff will actually work against the enemy faction and for you. With chaos, of course, you're controlling a whole group. Now the advantage is mind control overrides chaos, and chaos can't override mind control. So if you target a specific enemy, higher level, let's say healer, and you pop chaos on top of it, mind control will still control that particular ancient healer for you. So it's a nice little advantage in things. So my duration here on chaos is about 45 seconds, give or take. We got a roughly 30+ meter range on this, and again, it'll initially stun the enemies as well, but this allows you to target a whole bunch of enemies in the area, and it does the same type of impact on things like Eximuses. All their abilities shift towards each other, and in chaos, the enemies are confused and they just go ahead and shoot each other. But with that said, then we also have the Absorb feature, which is pretty cool. You know, big bubble basically. It absorbs damage, and then when you hit it, it'll shoot out magnetic damage based off the level. But this one is affected by power range and strength. And since I'm not focusing on strength in this one, this is not going to be my most used ability or most powerful ability. I will utilize Absorb, not as much as if I change my build around a little bit, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so my loadout here as we go through this, it's pretty simple. I did one Forma so far. I plan on doing two, and we'll talk about that in a bit. I am utilizing Energy Siphon for my Oromon. And then what I've got Flow in here, 150% max power. Okay. Then I add Overextended, giving me my 90% power range, even though I'm going to lose power strength, but because we're utilizing mind control and chaos, we're not worried about strength, so the negative loss is not going to really affect me. As I said, it does affect absorb, but it's not really going to be a big issue for me since that's not my strong point in this build. Then I'm going to utilize narrow-minded. Now, narrow-minded is going to give me a 81% duration increase, though I'm going to lose range, and that is going to obviously be offset by the overextended, but I'm still going to have about a 45 to 50% range increase here, which is fine. I can't use the regular streamline, the regular power range stretch on here because then I would just lose any extra, so that's why we want overextended to cover the difference on narrow-minded. Then of course I add a vitality to add extra health, and the reason I'm doing this is because I'm using my lately newly famous setup there that I like to use the most, which keeps me from dying, which is basically going to be my rage for converting damage on health to energy, and my quick thinking, which drains energy to stop the initial damage, lethal damage, with a 240% power efficiency. So when you see me drop down to 2 health and I don't die, that's because I'm using the rage quick thinking combo, and it's basically pulling from my energy pool, but because of rage it keeps dropping energy back in, so it's really tough to actually kill you. Though you can die, don't get me wrong, you can die, but this is how I set this up. And then finally, because I'm not using psychic bolts and I did have a spot for it, I actually used a basic, well, a 1-up enemy sense, which gives me a 10-meter enemy radar. I am going to actually form a NYX one more time, probably another D slot here, and then instead of changing out my polarity slot, so in case I want to do a config B build, I can rank up this enemy sense, and I think enemy sense works really well with NYX on this case. So that's basically how I have it set up. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any comments or questions, please, like I said, feel free to leave them below. I'll gladly answer them. If you're not subscribed and you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button if you like this and the other stuff on the channel. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next episodes. See you later.